Hey, good evening, and yet again, welcome back to another stream. Um, so I decided to drop my light on the miniature right before streaming. So I had to glue some parts, and it's not visible, but I just wanted to tell you what an idiot I am. I'm not even going to lie. Oh my gosh, really. I hope this stream goes better as the start of it because so let's just try to ignore that and paint something. So I'm not sure if you have been keeping an eye on my Instagram, but on there I mentioned the fact that I am going to stop using music in the background for a bit. This is because I constantly get copyright claims, even though I'm using music they claim to be copyright free. And I'm kind of done with being constantly anxious about silenced streams. Every time a song sounds a bit too familiar, I am kind of freaking out, like, is this a case of copyright claim again? So, yeah, I decided to quit the music for a bit. So if you would like to have some music for when I'm not talking that much, please go find something and play it alongside of this stream. I am in contact with an artist who offers to make some music for me. So let's hope that goes well, and I'm sure it will be good, but I'm not sure how long that will take. I'm sure it's not that easy to write new music, so let's just wait and see how that goes. And in the meantime, um, just go find something that's fun for you to listen to. Probably a lot more fun to listen to some random music. So yeah, let's see where I ended last time. I mean, I worked a tiny bit more on his face after the stream. Oh, that again. Stop it. Still have to look at that. I'm still not sure why it's doing that. It never done that, but I'll find it. Anyway, I glazed a bit of the colors back and forth to make it a bit better. It's still obviously not done. I also noticed he had some beard hairs on the side of his face. So I painted those in the same color as his little tuft of hair. So yeah, let's proceed where I ended last time and see where I will end up today. Let's get some new paints on the palettes. Using this green for the highlights, which is almost the same. Using this for the shadows, as it's the contrasting color of green. And of course, black and white. And there's a commercial break in 3 seconds. So, see you in a bit. Welcome back. Get some gloves. I mean, if you're painting a miniature quite fast, you don't need any gloves, but since I am putting quite the amount of hours into one miniature, that's a lot of holding it and hand grease and everything, you know? Don't want to add some paint to it and later be able to wipe it off because there's some grease in between. Still have some paints on the palettes that I used 2 days ago, and it looks like it's still usable, which is very nice as I was still working on his jackets, and as you can see, it's not that smooth just yet. I do like the highlights so far, but it's not quite there yet. Let's see. I believe it was this color I'm picking up with the brush right now. I have to check what the cat was doing. I don't think I have to do that much on this side. Probably mostly this one. Sorry about the weird angles. A bit of a shadow color to blend it back in. Quite like that. I was wondering if I could turn it off, but not while streaming. I will have it figured out before the next one, I swear. Okay. I think that is as good as I want it to be. Let's zoom in a bit. Oh, in, not out. I like the highlights, it's not too bright, remembering the fact that he is inside the deep woods. So no high reflective fabrics. And I can always add a bit more highlights when everything is done, especially with the idea of the light peeking through some leaves. So let's see, what color do I want for his vest? Maybe a greenish color? I mean, for someone traveling through the woods, browns and greens are always good. That rhymes, nice. So let's see, what kind of greens do I have? Debating these different greens. I have a military green and a war cry green, which are both not too vibrant, which is something I like for this paint job. Let's go for this. The military green. I think it's been quite a while since I used that one. Let's see. So this color is straight out of the bottle. It's what you expect from a military color. Maybe a bit too dark. But I added some green and some black. Maybe that's better. Yeah. This one and this one. And then for the highlights, I only have to add a bit of white since it's already green. It would be a bit weird to add green to green and white. So just skip the second green and add some white. Which will be this color. So those will be the colors for his vest. I think it should work. trying not to paint his hands. It's a bit of a shame to constantly clean up the messes. I think this belongs to the vest as well. And if not, it does now. From the shadow color to the highlight color. I'm going to paint his cuffs the same color as his vest. I think that's a nice detail. Almost dipped my finger in the paint. Let's not do that. I like that. And then now use that color straight from the bottle to make the transition between the two. So you thin it down to a very nice and thin consistency, a glazing consistency with which you can then create a nice transition. And you can always add more coats or a deeper shadow or a brighter highlight. This is just the start. And from there on, just see what needs to be happen. What needs to be happen? English, yeah. What needs to be done? Funny. And this definitely needs an extra shadow. So I'm simply going to add a bit more black and a tiny bit of red. And I'm going to turn this into a glazing consistency as well, because I only want to add a bit to it, not to completely change it. So just on the underside, some extra shadow. And the inside as well. Going to paint those buttons later on, but I'm adding the deepest shadow color to them so I can use that shadow. And I also want a brighter highlight as it is quite muted. Let's quickly fix this here. The transition wasn't as smooth as I wanted it, so just a quick touch up. So for that highlight, just a bit more white to the same mixture as before. Not too bright. one vest. So let's see what to do with his trousers. Maybe black, or at least a very dark brown. Let's try that. Do I have some brown left? No. Maybe this one. It's a dark umber. And in contrast to the brown I've been using, it's definitely different, so that's nice. Can't be using the same brown over and over. That's one very excited bubble. Okay, let's see. That is straight from the bottle. So let's add a bit of red and black to that. Which creates that dark color for the shadow. And then add white and green. Extra green to the highlight color. Which is this color. So I'm going to start with the shadow color. Almost grabbed the wrong color there. And now off to the highlight color. There's a shape in his trousers and I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be his blouse. I mean, of course you don't just wear a vest underneath your coat, there's also a blouse. Let me check. Like, right there. Yeah, thank you, camera. That part right there. Quickly use that break time to paint some very small detail. The fold in this sculpt are very small, so sometimes I have to glue my eye to the part I'm painting, which is a bit difficult to do if you're trying to film what you're doing. It would also be nice if you just focused. Thank you. But as I was mentioning before the commercial break started, this part right here looks like his blouse is peeking out from under his vest, from under his coat. Because on the other side, there's also, it's very difficult to see. There's also a flap sticking out of his coat. So I think it's his blouse. And because I'm quite sure about that, I'm going to treat it as is, and I will paint it a white-ish color, beige, with green, of course. So I will paint his trousers first, and then worry about the rest. So still working with the shadow color and the highlight color. I'm trying to find all the pleats. No, that's the wrong color. Almost. Wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, focus on my finger. That's exactly what I want. Weird camera. I think that's good. So let's blend the colors a bit with that color straight from the bottle, which is quite the pleasant color. I need to cover the entire highlight with that middle color, because the difference was a bit too big, especially thinking about it maybe being a wool fabric or something. So let me add a second shadow instead, so a bit more black. I don't think I've blinked even one time. So focused. I do like the colors with each other. He looks like a very calm and sweet little guy. And he has a bow tie, which is extra adorable. I think I'm going to give him some golden cuff chains. That's what you call them, right? With little buttons. In my mind, some crows have found some shiny bits and he has traded something with them. As he's also having these little bells attached to his legs. They're found throughout this piece, like here is another one. The mouse is having a little ball under his chin. Here another one, and of course another one on his leg. So I want to paint them gold. Whenever I get to that point, of course. But so far, yeah, I'm very pleased. So let's see. Need to smoothen out the colors of his trousers a bit. Always difficult to make the highlights not too bright, just bright enough. Because I really like to paint highly reflective fabrics with lots of gloss. But yeah, wool isn't that reflective. So maybe some very small dots here and there. Bring in a bit of texture. So I'm just going to use that highlight I mixed before, the one that turned out a bit too bright. I'm going to thin it down just a bit more. See if I can create a bit more interest on the highlights. Come on, camera. That's worse. I need better. Thank you. Just a tiny bit of dots in contrast to this side. And I like it, so I'm going to add it to the other side as well. Throughout the paint jobs of this mini, for some reason this side worked out so much better as the other side, but now with the trousers, this one looks better. Like, why? Hey, good evening, ducks. And thank you very much. Isn't he adorable? Going for some natural colored outfit here. I'm currently painting his dark trousers. Let me check. After I added this bit of shadow. Hold on. Something with black. Luckily, I mentioned on my post of Instagram the brand and the name and everything, so I can look it up as well. It's from a Blacksmith Miniatures, and he is called the Traveler. It's not a print from my printer. I actually bought him at a convention, and the quality is very, very nice. Also, it's flexible. I mean, I did break this part right here today just before starting the stream, but I dropped a light on top of it. It glued perfectly, so just forget about that, okay? Blacksmith. Yeah, I'm having one of those days again. The clumsy days. Okay, let's see. Let me paint that blouse I mentioned earlier. So a beige. Let me get this brown right here, just using what is already on the palette. This brown and some whites. Bit more. Almost looks pink for some reason. Add a bit of black to it. Better. And I'm not sure at all if that is actually a blouse speaking out, but in my mind it is, so I'm just painting it as is and hope for the best. Yeah, I paint the parts completely. So I usually start with the shadow color, then the highlight color, then I will mix those two with a middle color, and then place a second shadow, a second highlight, and see from there whatever needs to be done. Sometimes a third highlight, depending on how reflective the fabric is. But since this guy, in my mind, is currently somewhere deep in the woods, I don't want very bright highlights, so I'm not going very brighter as this. And also the natural fabrics, the wool and such, so nothing very reflective. So I just added one color here, and with light colors, I like to start with the brighter tones and then add shadows to it. Because if you start with the dark color and then go brighter, you get at least 6 steps to finally get to the part or to the highlight you want. It's easier to make it darker. So that of course is not his vest as I thought it was. It's his blouse. And it's very difficult for me to see, so I'm sorry I can't show that on camera. So let me quickly do this. There. I mean, it's a very little detail, but you can see the color, damn, it's difficult to pronounce thing. The color of his blouse just peeking out from his jacket. So let me add a shadow and make it a bit more natural shadow. Tiny bit of red and some black. Ooh, that's a lot of black. And then one more highlight with a bit of green. Just adding a bit of white and a bit of green to that color I used before. What do I want for his bow tie? I'd say bluish. Where's that color? This one. It's called Blue Gray Dusk. I think it's a fun one to use. I mean, it almost matches my shirt. like that blue little bow tie. Still looks very flat, of course, since I have not added any shadows or highlights. But I think that works with brown and green. So let's add some shadows by adding a bit of reds and a bit of black. And I am using red in the shadow because I am using green in the highlights. Part is quite scary to paint as his hands are in the way. And for the highlight, I will add some green and some whites. Ooh. I mean, the only thing I do before I start with the sectioning is to do a pre-shade. And in this case it was a zenithal highlight with black and white, followed by a green. Some nice shadows in the back. And the highlight up front. And this is something I do so I can use a bit of a visual as to where to place the shadows and such. And I mean, it works quite well with his hat and everything. Nice and dark in the back and bright up front. I have not placed the final highlights yet. I want to do that in the end so everything is uniform. His face is also not done yet, but I did not want to focus too long on one part. It's not that fun to watch. So I'm working on the main parts on stream, and then afterwards I'm going to fine-tune the details a bit just for myself, so I can actually paint like this instead of keep it in front of the camera. Right, I was painting that bow tie. It is quite difficult to reach it. going to leave that for now, as it is very difficult to reach and keep it in front of the camera. So next part, his shoes. I'd say a black shoe. Maybe I can add a bit of a stronger highlight to those if it's polished leather. I mean, he of course does not have to walk that much, so his shoes could be in very good condition. Let's just do that. And instead of going for pure black, I'm going to go for a very dark red instead. Quickly paint that. There. I would have never expected it to be so difficult to paint miniatures on camera. All the angles you have to keep in mind, the lighting, it's a challenge. Now let's add a highlight. I'm simply going to add a bit of white to the black. and since it is a highlight, adding a tiny bit of green as well. Let's see, where will the highlights be? These colors are quite dark and it's a bit difficult to film. But for the shadow, I added reds, but since the highlight is with green, I created a complete new mix. So instead of adding white to that mix, I simply made a new one with black, just white and a bit of green. And now for the second highlight, I'm going to add more white to that mix because there's already green in there. So I can just build on that color, but I will add a bit more green. Too difficult to focus on. Difficult to film tiny shoes. let's blend that a bit smoother. Going back in with that shadow color and blend the highlights in just a bit better. For his soles, what do I want there? Maybe just a shadow? Going to paint the stirrups black for now. Sometimes it's nice to just eliminate something to look at. So I paint them black for the moment, especially with leather. I mean, leather I always have the same way of painting it. So I paint it black as to not think about it for the moment. And it will still look perfectly fine when I get to it. There. Ah, darn it. I see I accidentally touched his chin with the blue. Let's see if that color is still okay on the palette. And now I hit the cuff. Stop doing that. That should do it. Let's try to paint some eyes. Camera, come on. Thank you. When I paint eyes, I usually start the base with the darkest color of the skin tone. It's just a bit too much, but I can fix that. and then I simply add some white to it. So I get a pinkish white. Adding more white to it. Going to give him some green eyes. they look quite the same size. Almost. Let me take a quick look from very close by. Of course, that's where I mess up. Shit. Back in with the light color. That's better. Well, hello you. It's been a long time. I think I'm painting quite something different from the last time we've been chatting. What do you think of my adorable little guy on a mouse? I'm currently painting some eyes. At least I'm trying. Yeah, stop it. Thank you. I've been mixing greens into every single color. Yeah, in my mind, he is somewhere deep in the forest, so the light around him is greenish. It's why I gave him a zenithal highlight covered in green, and from here on I'm adding all the colors and mixing in greens into the highlights as well. Come on, camera, cooperate. Thank you. So let's bring some eyes into those lights into those eyes. Yeah. Oh, that's totally fine. I mean, I only have 10 minutes left before I have to stop the stream anyway. So very nice of you to come say hi. Oh, you're editing your last video. Ooh. Can you tell me what it's about? Hey you! Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that video. It's always nice to watch your videos. So for everybody watching, go check out Blinded by Daylight. He's on YouTube. And the creations he's making are absolutely amazing. Very big, especially in contrast to the minis I paint. Oh, okay, let's paint some pupils. Oh no! Hope you feel better soon. Get some sleep, and I will talk to you later. Totally fine. Thank you! With all settled. Do all the boxes have to be unpacked? In that case, no. But I mean, I'm not in any rush. Still have to get some extra cabinets to actually put the stuff in. Probably can throw away a lot of stuff because it's still in the box and I don't miss it at all, so I'm not even sure what's in those boxes. Yeah, they will never be fully unpacked. Knowing myself. Okay, highlight time. My paint dried. Too careful. I'm nervous about this step. They look like ice. Still need to refine them, bring back in some of the skin tone, but that's a good start. skin color. Still got some on my palettes. There's a cat hair in my brush. Let's add a bit more highlights. Keep it in front of the camera. Okay. I think that's some good progress for today. Still definitely, definitely need to refine that face. It looks a bit pale in contrast to how I see it. Let's dim the light a bit. That's more like it. It has more red in the shadows. It was a bit washed out before. But I think it definitely works for something that is happening inside a forested area. It's not a bright and sunny color in the highlights, but a greenish one. Thank you very much. It's quite a challenge. Especially that skin tone. It's super weird to add green to it. But yeah, of course, if you're adding green to all the highlights, you also have to use green in the skin tone, skin color. Try to combine that as one word. So yeah, I still have to paint his little buttons, the pipe behind his ear, and the little bells around his pants for some reason. But yeah, that's for the next time. Thought I would be able to do a bit more, but I always seem to think that. But that's okay. I mean, I'm not in any rush. Competition is in October. I still have some time. So yeah, even though there are the most viewers for the evening, I really have to end the stream for tonight. Sorry about that. So yeah, I hope to see you all again in the next stream, which will be Friday, same time as today. And in the meantime, I will work a bit on the details, nothing too much, nothing too drastic. And I will post some pictures on Instagram, so you can take a look at his pretty little eyes without light issues. Yeah, so thank you all for being here, and hope to see you next week. In the meantime, enjoy your week, and hope to see you paint as well. I will take some pictures and hope you like it. Hey, bye.